What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Real Combat. I am your host, Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob, and this is a debate show for geeks and movie lovers to come on and try and convince me why I should watch their movie. We have a very special episode today with two very special guests, friends of mine who are going to be going head-to-head to try and convince me for the first time not to watch their movie, but to watch their movie franchise. And it is a horror franchise, and you guys know how I feel about that. Mr. Dave Paterno, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
And Mr. Chetty himself, Charlie Johnson, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. I cannot wait to kick Dave up and down this little debate here. Woo! It's going to be good.
I'm very excited to have you guys on the show. So you guys know they're the hosts of Five Things on Nerdbox, and it is a wonderful show that I have been able to take part in twice now, and I love it every time I'm on there. But we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But before we do, I want to introduce the franchises that you guys are having go head-to-head tonight. Dave, what's your franchise, sir?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
And he's already had a versus, but this time it's a little more equal. Mr. Chetty, Charlie Johnston, what is your franchise of choice to go up against Freddy?
The better one. Child's Play, also known as the Chucky franchise. It doesn't matter. Give me all the looks you want there, Dave. You're going down.
I don't think so, buddy.
You're going down. You're going down.
See, I say this is a very evenly matched franchise off, in my opinion. It's two very well-known horror franchises. They've each produced 7 individual movies for themselves. Freddy does have another movie with another horror icon, but we'll take that one out of there for now.
I was going to say, wait. I think in the interest of being fair, and it's your show, you make the rules, but I think that one should be left out because I would even admit they would probably win.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got to look at this too, right? They got a remake each. And they each had their own TV shows.
It's also true.
Here's the thing. Freddy has the advantage of having an extra movie with somebody like Jason, but Chucky is officially announced to have a second season, which Freddy never got. So
I didn't know that, but that's good. That's just more ammunition.
Well, I'm very excited about this. And so how this works, everybody, we have 4 rounds to go around. Each contestant gets 1 minute to explain each topic in those rounds. The first round is, why should I watch your movie? Second round, what is your movie's influence on audiences? Then third round is the rebuttals. I can't wait for those arguments. Round 4, personal connections to the movies, or in this case, the franchises. Now, the older movie usually goes first on this show. So we're going to stick to it. So the older franchise gets to go first, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street. Dave?
I almost feel like that's a knock on the gray beard there, the older franchise there.
Shut up and go, Grandpa.
Round 1, fight!
So, how this all began was my friend Chetty over there had recommended Child's Play as a film to introduce your family to. Well, I'm calling shenanigans on that, because Nightmare on Elm Street is the perfect franchise of them all in the horror universe to introduce to your family. And the reason being is that out of Scream, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Child's Play, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare on Elm Street has the least amount of gore in it. So if you're going to introduce your family to it, that is definitely one of the ones that you want to introduce your family to. It also only has 1 boob shot, and that's in part 5. So if you're worried about the boobs and anything else when it comes to introducing this to your family, you don't have to worry about it. In fact, if you watch the TV version, the girl's wearing a bra. Now, outside of having probably one of the most iconic characters and actors in horror history on this, you have Robert Englund, who's probably the next level.
Your minute is up, sir. It was a good argument, but I had to take you out on the minute. I got to be fair. Chetty, why should I watch the Chucky franchise?
Mick, can I ask you a simple question? Do you appreciate and love the preciousness of your children and the innocence of them? Then why in God's name would you allow them to watch a franchise about a pedophile who got lit on fire by the townspeople? That's simply put. Yes, I'll admit, in our countdown, I could have maybe switched some things. I think I even said that yes, maybe Scream should have been number 2, Child's Play could have been number 1. I stand by my decision, though, because frankly, when I was a child, I was exposed to Child's Play at a relatively young age. Younger than I even suggested that it should be. If anyone with any sort of memory, obviously excluding my co-host, they would recall that I said that it's a growing list along with the ages of your family, meaning they should be a little bit older. But I digress. One reason outside of no pedophiles in it. Is that a minute? Man, you're cruel. I still win that round.
And I saw you going for the point, and I'm like, oh, but the minute's up. I got to be fair.
Yeah, I feel like my minute was faster. This is a rig.
That's because you're blowing smoke there, buddy. Smoke goes up faster.
You guys put up 2 very good arguments for a franchise, and I think because this is a franchise, it's only fair going forward. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds on the clock as we go.
Oh, I appreciate that, but we can't redo that one.
No, we can't redo that one. But I'm gonna give you going forward. I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds on the clock each.
That's okay. Dave needs all the help he can get.
Well, with that being said, before we get into everything, those was very good round 1, but we are getting into round 2, which is what is your movie's influence on audiences? And I'm going to give this one to Chetty to start off. And with that being said,
Round 2, fight.
I think twofold, and I'll be really quick because I have to be, because I'm not Dave and I don't get extra favors. Anyway, I think that this has to do with the fact that, number 1, Child's Play was smart enough to go after pop culture at the time. For anyone that's old enough to remember, there was a toy called My Buddy back in the day. That, Mick, you can correct me. I'm not saying it was Chucky was based on that, but I'm sure there was a little bit of like, oh, that's creepy as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
That end, I don't recall, and you guys can also correct me, that the overall dialogue of the movie making it a little bit more vicious. I don't know. I remember Chucky cursing a lot. That's probably not a great selling point, but it's fun. It's a lot more fun than "I'm gonna get you, bitch," and friggin' all kinds of crap like that with like stringy arms down an alleyway and for some broad. And he's a pedophile, and he's a goddamn pedophile. That's it. Hit the clock. I'm done.
Okay, all right. And you were under a minute on that one. That's pretty funny.
That's right. I should get extra points.
Well, it all comes down to the arguments on these. And Dave, the argument is yours. What is your movie's franchise, I should say, influence on audiences?
What's the influence on audiences? Have we not seen the demand for Friday the 13th to cross over into Nightmare on Elm Street and have Freddy versus Jason? 10 years of fans and audiences demanding that. And when that was done, what did they demand next? Oh, that's right. Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. And that turned into a comic book because the studios didn't want to do it, but the fans wanted it, and they got it. Who Chucky fight? Oh, that's right. Nobody, because nobody wants to see that little dog get punted across the street and be finished off pretty easily. So, while you can talk about, his mouth, that's right. Again, I'm coming back to the family part here. The influence is that Nightmare on Elm Street is for all ages. Less gore, less cursing. Enough said.
All right. Is this a trick? I mean, I give you guys an extra 30 seconds and you both come out under a minute.
It is a trick, but I'm gonna call out, what do I got? Like maybe 20 seconds roughly that I left off? I'm taking over this thing, Mick. You just got to get used to the idea. Yo, 2 things. Number 1, we weren't supposed to mention Freddy versus Jason. You got to take that out of your argument there, handsome. Yo,
The man
and you know what?
is the influence.
Nobody gave a crap about Ash versus Freddy versus Jason. That's why they didn't make it. Your arguments.
God, I don't know that I agree with that one. I mean, I
They
would
didn't
love to see
make
that.
They never
Oh.
made it.
It's true, they never did. Listen, they made Jason X, and that counts, right? So that counts for something.
Sure.
I'll say this in my remaining 20 seconds. The influence. Let's see. We seen the Freddy Krueger glove turn up in Evil Dead 2, and we seen Freddy's hand come out in Nightmare. Well, not Nightmare on Elm Street, but Jason Goes to Hell. We didn't see Chucky involved in any of those movies. Why? No influence. Nobody gives a rat's ass.
That's
about
not
that little
true.
guy.
That's not true. There was, which one was it? Was it one of the newer Halloweens, or was it Scream? I can't remember which. But they had all of the artifacts in like a police locker or some shit like that. Chucky was one of them.
Ooh.
So suck it there, wiener face. It's over. Count it.
I will allow that one. I will count that one because we did, we did count a lot for Freddy. But although Freddy has earned it, he has earned it just like Chuck.
I already know where this is going. You guys are fucking
No,
got it
you
rigged.
don't know. This is always up in the air.
Not fair.
But before we go on to the rest, and you can win this, arguments are what win this always. And you both have been putting up very good arguments. And the reason that is because you're such great co-hosts over on Five Things. Guys, before we get started and you tell me about Five Things, everybody, this argument has started a while back between these two, between Freddy and Chucky. And let me show you some clips of where this comes from. Check it out.
And the other one, now, the reason why I was thinking about putting this in, because I felt that there was a challenge thrown out about the lowest score possible on the Christmas
It wasn't
movies.
a challenge. Jesus Christ.
I'm taking it as a challenge.
Okay,
And
of course
this
you are.
one is pretty low. It's got a 7% critic score, and it's got a 30% audience score, and it's Jack Frost. No, not the one with Michael Keaton.
No, I know
The
which one you're talking
other
about.
one. Oh, you know what, Charlie? This
I
is
know
your
it.
this is your child's play for Christmas, because you have a
Is it a
killer.
horror movie?
It's a horror movie, and you have a killer that dies, and he transports his soul into a snowman.
I vaguely remember the fucking cover. God damn, what's wrong with you?
You said child's play was for kids. I'm giving you.
It was Halloween. I
That
don't
doesn't
understand.
make it for kids.
I don't understand why we
Just so you
ignore
know,
the fact.
Charlie, we
Hold on.
still talk
No.
about your
Yeah. We're good. Jen, you weren't there. Okay. You got to hear me out. There was.
Child's play? Yes, I was.
Wait a second. There were steps. There were steps starting from here, and we worked our way up. I was very clear in saying that Child's Play was not going to be shown to the kid until they were 15, 16 years old, when it was a relatable, like, you're getting older now. Now it's time to scare the shit out of you, and I don't really care if you
think
sleep or
that's
not
what
because
you
you're
said.
16. I was trying to be a little more delicate with it. There was some nuance, for
Because
God's sakes.
I watch all of his videos so I can tell him if there's any mistakes. And I'm going to tell you right now that you made it pretty clear that Child's Play was like a kid's Halloween movie.
Who edited it? I call shenanigans. I want you to watch it. I want you to watch the uncut version of that podcast.
Because you even made a comment like, I think my kid's like ready or something like that. So you made it very clear that is a now movie.
At the time, no, Dave, you're gonna fucking get it, you dick. What an asshole. I didn't. It's like you go out of your way to just make people uncomfortable with your movie selections.
Look, it can't be a child's play Christmas, all right?
It's not. That's the point. That's the point, Dave. It's not a Child's Play Christmas. Child's Play is Halloween. It's very appropriate. I'm not eating people on Christmas like your movie.
And this is how long it's been going on. And we're going to decide it here tonight. Who is going to win? We will figure it out. The arguments are for them. We have 2 more rounds left. But before we get there, guys, tell me about Nerdbox. Tell me about 5 Things. I want to hear some more about it.
Chetty, would you do the honors?
Well, Nerdbox is actually it's sort of a conglomeration of a lot of different talents and personalities. Dave, I give him a hard time, but he's a great friend, old friend of mine. he kind of threw the whole thing together. If I'm going to get it correct, because even the history is a little blurry for me, because I'm not from the origins of it. I just do it better than anybody. It started out Dave, his wife, Donna Jean, big con fans, big CinemaCon fans, a lot of the horror stuff and all that. And it kind of started there with interviews and all this kind of stuff. And Dave and Donna both started like kind of, she already sort of had a podcast, and then it just turned into this big extra thing. So Five Things is mine and Dave's list show on the channel where, we pick a topic, numbers 5 through 1, some honorable mentions, we debate, we argue. I usually freak out once an episode. It's good fun. I love being the George Costanza of this channel. It's great.
Yeah. So well put. So Nerdbox essentially is all about its origins, which was women in horror, and that is pointing the spotlight to indie filmmakers and women in the industry. And as we went along, Mr. Chetty there was a part of that origin as well, and we were doing some other things. But not that many women wanted to be on Women of Horror, so we decided to go a little bit more pop culture. We went Nerdbox, and actually now we have more women that want to be involved. So go figure.
Hey, it's all working out, and it is a great channel to watch and check out. You should go subscribe over on their YouTube channel and follow them all over social media, because they have a really cool group on Facebook as well. But yeah, guys, I appreciate it. You've had me on Five Things before. We've had a good time. I believe the next one that I'm on will be last week. So
yours is coming. The Westerns is coming. We're doing Christmas right now.
I'm super excited for it. I can't wait to check out, because that was fun to film. And I just checked out your recent episode, which is TV shows that should be erased and canceled and or canceled, or both, vice versa. Flip it around. But tell me more about your most recent episode. You just started season 2. And you don't have to give anything away, but how does it work for you when you're recording these?
It tends to be. So I can only speak for myself. My approach: come up with a list, like I said, the honorable mentions, and then I riff on them. That's kind of what I do. I mean, they're all it's a thought out sort of a thing. The call and response is, I think, where it sort of all happens, if that makes any sense. Like I said, you've been on the show before. There's been, I don't even know how many hours of extra crap we came up with. And, sometimes debate, sometimes it's just a healthy conversation. Sometimes it's just reminiscing, or the nostalgia factor comes into it. All depends. And it strikes us in different ways. And we've definitely had situations where what you would assume would be, a really quick, 3 or 4 minute, clip or whatever, or snippet of a on someone's list can turn into a half hour or longer of just going on about, I don't know, who knows, Godzilla or Batman, whatever.
It's always Batman.
It's always Batman.
Yeah. So Five Things, essentially, it's 5 things you should check out or avoid. And our season premiere was on the TV shows that should be canceled or erased from history, because there are some vile human beings that we talk about on that show. And we're going through our Christmas episodes, so guilty pleasures, regular Christmas movies. And this season, we got to expand a little bit. We got to do some movies. We got to do some food. We got to do Westerns with Mick. And, it's either watch or avoid. It's been a good time.
Don't forget our special guest in the Christmas episode.
Oh, who was that? That's right. Angela Goethel-Soder from Home Alone.
Oh, very exciting stuff. And I got to tell you guys, go check out Five Things. It's a lot of fun. The list aspect of it is just it's a small part of what happens in Five Things. It's been such a great time every time I've been on, and I can't wait to be on again when they'll have me. If they'll have me.
Nope.
Especially after today.
Depends on how the vote goes for who wins this one. There, Mickey Pooh.
That's where I'm figuring it. I was like, I might have been kicked off this way too soon. But I am excited, and we are getting on to round 3, and that is the rebuttals. Now you guys get to argue why the other person's wrong, and it's going to be an exciting one. This is always the one that really kind of like catches me. This or personal connections. That's why I keep them towards 3rd and 4th. But since Chetty went last, You, Dave, are going to go first.
Round 3.
So we're going to sum this up in a couple easy points here. One, part one of Child's Play, and the reason why I would never introduce this to my family until they got way older in the teenager years, is it's the movie that drops the N-bomb. Yes. I don't appreciate that. I don't care whatever's politically correct or incorrect. I just never appreciated it before it was a major topic like it is now. And the language, number 2, part 3 has more F-bombs than 5 of the Nightmare on Elm Street films. Now let's talk about the gore. If I'm going to introduce this to my family, Freddy does stab people in the stomach or the chest, but there's no blood. Chucky suffocates people with plastic bags, stabs them, slices throats, beats them with rulers, kills them with spears, blows up cars. No. I'm not gonna have my family be introduced to that crap. Definitely not. So, that little psycho wants more dreams than the guy that actually makes you supposed to fear dreams.
Good argument. All right, Chetty, what's your rebuttal, sir?
I will take that as that is a fair argument, especially the language thing. I will disagree on one hand, and I'm not defending anything in terms of language that is used. I find all that stuff deplorable. I'll be the first to admit it. I think we can all agree. However, I have a funny feeling that a few people on this podcast, aside from myself, have definitely watched movies like Forrest Gump and will continue to do such going forward in life. Don't act like you're better than me. If you're gonna make that argument, you gotta hold it with everybody. Anyway, the other part. So we're just gonna throw that argument thrown away. Out the window. It's gone. The argument that I have is that you needed so much help. Freddy needed so much help that he had to enlist, because you did this earlier, Jason Voorhees. That's what he needed for people to give a crap. You know what my guy did? About 3 movies. And that's it. He scared the crap out of people. He made people not be able to go to sleep in their own room. Kids looked over in the corner, saw they're my buddy, and said, I'm not sleeping till I'm 15. That's how that works. That's real fear. That's it. Count it.
Hell of an argument. Hell of an argument on that one. Well, everybody, that's up in the air for me right now because I really don't know which way to go, but Personal Connections is probably going to be the one to sell me on this. And then I have a very special surprise right after that round. So before we do, Dave, you're going to start this one off.
Round 4.
I kind of feel guilty talking about Personal Connections, but I have been fortunate enough to meet members from both casts. And I've met Robert Englund multiple times. And the personal connection I have there is, one, it's me and my wife's favorite horror movie. And we've gotten to see Robert Englund in person several times. And meeting him in person is amazing because you get to wait in line because they're really long. And you get to hear him tell stories about the industry. Now, you can go and watch Q&As for both of these actors or cast that have been in this movie, but you're only going to get the stories on Hollywood from Robert Englund, who, again, plays Freddy. So there is a nostalgia that he brings to it outside of the role, as well as promoting different ideas that he would like to do with the role or the character going forward.
It's a hell of an argument, Chetty. What is your personal connection to the Chucky series?
Jennifer Tilly is smoking hot. That's my argument. Anyway, that's not my argument. It got really personal, though.
It got real personal. Yeah.
It was my first, it was my first actual horror movie, and it left an impression. And it's all me. It's just, that's my personal connection. I can distinctly remember being about 10, 11 years old, Roxbury, New Jersey, living on Elon Avenue, and it was on. Be fair, it was like NBC or whatever. It was an edited version of it. I'm sure, the language was tamed back, and maybe that's why it's stuck in my head the way it is. But years later, I went back when I got the courage to do so. I watched it again and I liked it. I did, And I think as far as sustainability, now we can go back and say that, like all slasher movies, they all have one problem, and that is eventually it's too much of a good thing and they fall off a little bit. And that is not any different for Chucky. However, I feel that as far as these movies in general, even the crappy ones have a pretty solid following and always sort of did when they were going into the theaters and all that. Freddy, Mike Myers, Jason, they all sort of end up being, met with some excuses. That's just sort of my thing. So Chucky was just, I don't know. I think he held up a little bit, overall. And Jennifer Tilly's got big boobies.
All right. Oh my God. All right. Usually this is a time where I will pick a winner. But I'm going to give you both one more chance with a very special bonus round, which I don't do, but I feel like this is a big episode. We're not arguing movies here. We're arguing franchises. And you guys have put in a hell of an argument for 4 rounds. You guys have been going back and forth, blow for blow. That I have to give you a bonus round. I have to give you a decider. But this time, you are only allowed to argue your respective reboots. And that's it. So, Nightmare on Elm Street reboot versus Child's Play reboot. Chetty, I'm going to start with you. Why is the reboot for Child's Play better than the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot?
Final round.
If I can I be honest?
Sure.
I didn't watch it.
Fair, okay. This is staying in, by the way.
That's fine. That's whatever. Dave wins.
He doesn't win the whole thing. He wins around, but actually, let's see what his argument is for why the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot is better than Child's Play reboot. Now, keep in mind, you may not have seen it, Chetty, so you kind of forfeited your argument, but I've seen both. And if Dave, I don't agree with your argument.
Oh, you hear that?
You got to try and win me over with this one.
Wow.
Hey, I'm not
Ain't
saying
that
one or the other. I'm just saying it's toss up right now. So, Dave, why is the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot better than the Child's Play reboot?
Grounded in reality. Let's talk about that, right? So we've gone from the comical Freddy Krueger that had a pizza face to an actual burn victim who was legitimately was really pissed off about what happened to him. And we actually got more of a backstory in that film than we did in the entire franchise. Now, in the Child's Play reboot, we got a pissed off designer that programmed a bad code into that Chucky and then unleashed him onto the world. Now, I'll have to say this. When it comes to stupid faces, that Chucky has probably the most stupidest face in the entire franchise. And with all of the faces that are in the Nightmare on Elm Street one as well, because nobody really liked the way Freddy Krueger looked in that part. But that new Chucky, nope. And then, of course, the mom, not believable at all. Worst mom in any horror movie ever. And I'm just tired of seeing her in movies.
Worse than the mom from the first Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah, definitely.
You're a bad
I
mom.
don't buy her as being a mom.
That's
Not at all.
Now, granted, I didn't watch the movie, but that's a little unfair. It's not her fault she played like an 18-year-old on Parks and Rec for 12 years or whatever it was on.
How about every movie afterwards? It's the same character.
Well, yeah, she's typecasted. Whatever. You're gonna say no to money?
It sucks
We need
when
you
you're
to do this for an hour
typecast
and a
in
half.
comedy, TV,
Okay.
and horror.
Yeah, and she's making millions. You keep doing it.
All right. Well, I like the argument. And now I have to choose. And this has gotten real tough. It was actually pretty easy there for a few. But then it got real tough. Now, as far as the reboot goes, I'm going to give the special bonus round win to Dave because he actually put up an argument.
I didn't see the movie.
No. You didn't win. You didn't win Real Combat. You won the special bonus round.
Oh, that's right, sucker.
The winner and the best franchise out of the two. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Is the Chucky franchise.
Yay!
Hey!
And here's my reasoning. Here's my reasoning because I know I'm going to get a lot of comments on this one. Chetty, you weren't wrong, man. I feel like they breathed new life at the later it went into the Chucky series, whereas they didn't really do that with the Friday series, Freddy series. They kind of went, they tried, but they really didn't. They kind of stayed stagnant and they tried to make him more pop culture. Whereas with Chucky, yes, they tried to make him more pop culture, but in a much more inventive way.
You did see Cult of Chucky, right? Because that was dog shit.
I did see Cult of Chucky, but I can't argue with the fans either because Cult of Chucky leads right into the Chucky TV series. And it's pretty damn good. And it's getting a second season, and I'm excited for it. And I am more of a Freddy fan than I am a Chucky fan. But if I'm being impartial and I'm going by the arguments, I got to give it to Chucky on that one. The series, both franchises in a whole, Chucky kept me interested throughout. They went crazier, they went funnier, the whole nine. But it was much more interesting than watching like 4, 5, and 6.
I think they also owned the fact that we all, by the time they got to the Bride of Chucky stuff, it's almost, I won't say it became like meta per se. I mean, it kind of did, but it was like they realized at this point it's kind of ridiculous. Like it's gore for the sake of gore and all that kind of stuff, and it's a ridiculous story. Like they even inside the movie always seemed to me like they knew it. But some of the other slashers just was always like, no, we're serious. This is. Yep. Really coming after him again.
And I feel like they did that with 3 in Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, if we are going pound for pound, who has the best movie, top of the heap out of both franchises?
Oh, it's Freddy.
It's Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is like one of the best horror movies of all time. Let alone, yeah, and the first one is as well, in my opinion. Whereas with Chucky, I would put them like above the sequels. But I feel like when Wes Craven was involved, he got very meta with it, and then New Line just took it to a place that was like, well, we just want to stick and we want to make the money. And it's like, and now I feel like Wes Craven did it 3 times for them, and they didn't run with it any time. Because he did it with the first one.
Plus, let's be honest. I mean, we're all, nearing around the same age. We all knew at least one, heavy set goth chick that just loved to like have her chest showing. That just was like, I want to be that. They had that Bride of Chucky doll. Like, they had diehard fans, like real diehard fans that I remember being in high school and knowing people that were like obsessed with at least that chick.
Walk in the Spencers. They still sell her.
That's what I mean. And how long has it been since she's been in a movie?
Well, she's on the TV show.
Oh, is she? I didn't even watch the TV show. See what I mean? This is what I mean. This is the best acting you've gotten all freaking season, bro.
Well, no, Jennifer Tilly's been on ever since. She's even in Curse and Cult. Very small part, and she's on the TV show. She has been a mainstay throughout, and which is another thing that I really have to give to the Chucky series. There's consistency. Actors have stayed with it for years. Brad Dourif did not have to return. I mean, the guy's an Academy Award winner. He didn't even have to do it. He still does it. He loves the character, and he continues, and he's still doing it today. The only one he didn't do it was for the reboot, and he said he would have come back to do it. They chose not to go with him. He's
got the perfect gig right now because for season 1, he did all his parts from home. Yep. And when I recently got to meet him, and I kind of found out about part 2 in the end of September. And he mentions like, yeah, they've asked me to do more voice work for season 2. So, and it hadn't even come out yet.
I'm excited. I am excited for it. Freddy, though, does have a special place in my heart. I mean, it's right there. It's right there. Chucky's down there. All the way
They're
down
both
there.
good.
They are.
Yeah.
They're both good.
But, you know, Chucky does have that merchandising rights that just...
He
It's
sells.
like rival Star Wars at this point. No, I'm kidding. But...
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I want to say
no. They know how to market.
Oh,
they definitely know how to
100%.
market.
I want to say thank you guys for joining on the show tonight and really putting up a great fight. It was a lot of fun. This is our first franchise one. I would love to have you guys back on to argue more franchises. I think that would be a lot of fun. You should be our resident franchise arguers.
I like that idea.
I see a DC versus Marvel coming.
Oh man,
I will save that one for you.
Flip a coin, broski. I got arguments for both.
Okay. Well, you heard it here, folks. We have our franchisees over here, and they're going to come back. Listen, guys. I want to say thank you again. You guys can check out 5 Things over on Nerdbox. Please do it, and check out the rest of the shows on Nerdbox. It's a lot of fun. It's a great channel. Everything is going to be linked in the description below, so you can go click on it and just go right over. Give them a follow, give them a subscribe, likes, the whole 9 yards. Take care of them because they're great guys. Thank you again. Remember, everybody, I'm Mick Manhattan, Scene Snob. You can check out the Scene Snobs everywhere. We're all over the place. You just Google us and you'll see us. But if you are interested in merch, joining our Patreon or anything like that, listen to the After Credits roll, and that's what will tell you where to go, which is thescenesnobs.com. Take care, everybody, and have a great night.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob, and you can check out the Scene Snobs podcast live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, or you can check it out on any podcast platform or our YouTube channel anytime after that. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. If you guys want to join, check us out over on thescenesnobs.com. We have links for everything. The Scene Snobs merch store is open. You can check that out too. Links again on the site. Or like, follow, and subscribe on all of our social media. Again, head over to thescenesnobs.com. It's all there for you guys. Love you, and we'll talk to you guys soon.